Imagine this. Every single day, you move millions of dollars in and out of banks. But when you get home, your own pockets are empty. Now picture this. What if the guy mopping the floors, the man no one ever notices, suddenly decides to take it all? This is the story of David Ghantt, a security guard who lived surrounded by money, yet could barely afford to pay his bills. His paycheck? Just $8 an hour. Day after day, David's life looked the same. Load the truck, deliver the cash, secure the vault. He was honest, hardworking, loyal. But deep inside, he was crushed because he knew one thing: his life was never going to change. But then came the spark that changed everything. David reconnected with Kelly Campbell, a former co-worker. To David, she wasn't just a friend. He had feelings for her, and that would become his greatest weakness. Kelly introduced him to her new friend, Steve Chambers, a smooth talker, greedy, and manipulative. And Steve asked David a question that would turn his world upside down. You're surrounded by millions every day. Doesn't it ever cross your mind that a piece of it could be yours? At first, David brushed it off, but temptation is like a seed, and once planted, it begins to grow. October 4th, 1997, the night that shook America. After finishing his shift, David quietly disabled the security cameras. He pulled out the tapes, erased the evidence, and then turned toward the vault. Behind that door sat $17.3 million in cash. For 2 hours, David stuffed bag after bag into the Loomis Fargo van. His hands were trembling, his forehead wet with sweat. And when the last bag was loaded, he knew there was no turning back. That night, David Ghantt pulled off one of the largest cash heists in American history. But even the perfect crime has cracks. In the chaos, David forgot to disable one security camera, and that one lens captured everything. David smiling, counting stacks of money, even dancing in joy. The proof of his crime was already sealed. The very next day, David fled to Mexico with his share. The rest of the money stayed behind with Steve and his wife, Michelle Chambers. David dreamed that Kelly would soon join him, that they'd start a new life together. But reality was far darker. Steve and Michelle went on a reckless spending spree, luxury cars, expensive homes, showing off like sudden millionaires. It wasn't long before the FBI took notice, and then the darkest twist came to light. Steve was secretly plotting to have David killed in Mexico, though he could keep it all. But the law catches up with everyone. March 1998, the FBI arrested David in Mexico. One by one, Steve, Michelle, and the rest of the crew were taken down in North Carolina. Around 88% of the money was recovered. The rest, never found. David was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Steve got 11 years, and Kelly, she did time too, but eventually returned to a normal life. Today, David Ghantt is a free man. He lives quietly in Florida, working construction jobs. He admits that greed destroyed his life. Hollywood later turned his story into the 2016 comedy film Masterminds. But the real David Ghantt says this: "If I'd just worked hard, my life might have been small, but at least I could have slept peacefully at night." This story leaves us with one undeniable truth. Money earned with dignity, no matter how little, brings peace. But stolen wealth, no matter how much, only brings ruin. So the next time greed comes knocking at your door, remember, it always smiles when it enters, but it always leaves behind bars, chains, and regret.